Hi, this is Chris Swan with a quick demo of getting Git Bash and Atom working with GitHub on Windows. So I've already downloaded Git Bash from git-for-windows.github.io and I've got the Atom binary ready to go as well. So let's start off by clicking on the Git Bash installer, and once that opens up I'm just going to accept all of the defaults and let it run its way through. So first of all, I've got the user access control to deal with there. And once that's clicked on, I should now be able to just run through the installer itself. So here it comes. I'm just going to accept all of the defaults. This is just a Windows 10 virtual machine that I'm using anyway. And off it goes with the installer. That's going to take about 2 minutes, so I'm going to pause while it's doing that and come back once it's finished. Alright, so 2 or 3 minutes in, and the installer is now just about complete. And it's asking me if I want to view the release notes, which I don't, but I do want to launch Git Bash, so let's get straight on into it. So Git Bash is giving me a Linux type command line environment, but on the Windows machine here. So I can type in Unix type commands like pwd for my present working directory, ls to list out the directory that I'm in, and that's the home directory, so it's full of stuff. What I normally do is just create a directory called Git, and that keeps things clean, and then I normally create another directory corresponding to the account on GitHub that I'm going to make use of, in this case my own one, cp1. So let's change into that. Alright, and then in order to get Git working with GitHub, I'm going to need to have an SSH key created. So let's do SSH keygen. It's going to ask me a bunch of questions, and I'll just hit enter each time to accept the defaults, and the ASCII art shows me it's done there. And let's take a look at that key, which is going to be tilde.ssh idrsa.pub, and there's the key that's just been generated. If I select that with my mouse, that's going to be copied into the copy buffer, and at this point I can go into GitHub. I opened a tab to GitHub earlier and signed in, and I can go to my settings and then SSH keys, and I can then paste in that new SSH key. So I'm going to call this Win10 demo, paste it in, and that's ready to go. So what I'm going to do next is actually create a demo repository in GitHub and clone that into my Git Bash environment. So let's go to my repositories, do new repository. I'm going to call this Win10 demo as well, and I'm going to initialize it with a README and create that repo. And then once that's done, let's get my clone link. So that's an SSH link, and I can go into my Git Bash command line and do git clone and paste in that URL. And that's going to clone it. First SSH connection requires a yes to confirm, and that's good to do. So I can see that demo is there. I can CD into it. I can see that my README's there. I could edit that if I liked with VI. But that's not the most user-friendly way to do things, so I'm going to quit out of that and install Atom and have a go at editing with that instead. So I downloaded Atom already from atom.io from this download Windows 64-bit installer, and here it is. So let's just click on that, and that's going to take a moment or so, and it'll fire up the Atom installer. Not much to configure on that, so we just get a few minutes of us watching a spaceship being loaded with different boxes and pieces of luggage for its journey. And I'll pause the video once that comes up, and I'll start again once that's completed loading up the spaceship and Atom's ready to go. So that takes about 2 minutes, and let's just click on that, and we should see that it's starting to do its thing. So there we go, there's the spaceship that I referred to. We can see a little box going up the ramp, and time to pause. So the install is complete and it's launched straight into Atom, and because it's first run, it's going to open up some welcome guides and some tabs there. So what I need to do first is just maximize this window, and I also want to install the Git Plus package, so I'm going to open the installer for that. Type in Git Plus and hit enter, and it's going to search for it there, and give it a moment and it'll bring me up that list of packages. And first of all it'll show featured packages, but give it a moment longer, and here we go, it's showing me Git Plus 7.6.0, which is the latest version, so I'm going to click install on that. That takes about as long as installing Atom itself, so I'm going to pause the video once more. Alright, so Git Plus is now installed. So what I'm going to do next is just close down all of these default tabs that it's opened up for me, and get started with editing that README from the demo repo that I created. I'm going to choose not to have the welcome guide every time I open Atom, and in my case I'm not going to do telemetry. So we've got an open kind of piece here, so let's open folder and go into this PC, my C drive, users, the user I'm signed in as, Git, and we're into that demo directory. And once I open that up, that's going to show me just the README that got created when it was done on GitHub. So let's open that up. So we can just see that it's given a simple header there. Now, one of my favorite features of Atom is that it's got a built-in markdown preview. So let's turn that on. I could have done that with Control-Shift-M, or I can just do it from the menu there. And this will show me that if I'm using various pieces of Markdown, it'll give me a live demo of that, so I can use different types of formatting to show how that's working. And I can even put in a bash code block here and illustrate how it'll give me highlighting of the code. So there's a comment, and that's going to be grayed out, whereas if I put a command in, then I can see that it's got syntax highlighting for that. Alright, so I've got a bit of Markdown there. Highly recommend just having a look at the Markdown cheat sheet if you want to get all of the Markdown vocabulary, so you can do these yourselves. So let's now go to Git Plus and add all, commit and push. And that's not good. This typically happens on the first install of Atom because it hasn't picked up the Git environment yet. So what I'm going to do here is pin Atom to my taskbar, and let's also do the same with the Git Bash while I'm at it, because those things I'm going to keep on wanting to use. And then let's shut Atom down, give it a moment, start it back up. It's going to take me right back to where I left off, and hopefully this time around when I do my commit after adding all and the push, then it will interact properly with my Git environment, and I should then be able to. Okay, so it's going to have saved the file, it's added the file. Now it didn't ask me for a commit message there, so let's see what's going on. Right, we saved the file. Try that one more time. Add all, commit and push. And this time, because I saved the file, it's adding it in. So I'm just going to put in a very simple git commit message. I've not got a signed off there because I've not done git global config yet. And I'm going to press Ctrl S to save that. That'll then now do the commit, and now it's doing the push. And I can see that that's worked. If I now go back into my Git Bash, I can have a look at Git status, and we can see that everything's in sync. I can have a look at Git log, and I can see that there was an initial commit which was done on the GitHub end, and then the changes that I just committed there, which have been pushed up to GitHub. So let's return to my GitHub tab, and if I do a refresh on that page, then I should see that the changes that I made locally on the Windows 10 VM have indeed been pushed up to GitHub. So thanks for watching. That's it for now.